Trey Murphy was one of the fastest rising names on draft boards after a really strong season at Virginia. But now, what are the New Orleans Pelicans getting in the UVA sharpshooter? This is Floor and Ceiling. Let's break him down. Trey Murphy's strong junior season at Virginia saw him skyrocket up draft boards with his outside shooting, athleticism, and defense. Right now, Murphy fits a need that every NBA team is looking for on the wings. The New Orleans Pelicans ended up drafting the UVA sharpshooter at 17, and in 4 games of Summer League action, Murphy has impressed. At over 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, Murphy has ideal size for a wing and a very good chance at NBA success. At this point in his career, Trey Murphy's bread and butter will be his three-pointer. Murphy is sort of an outside specialist coming into the NBA with the New Orleans Pelicans. His college career and breakout season last year at Virginia back that up. At over 6'9", Murphy projects as an immediately dangerous perimeter threat. He shot 40% from beyond the arc during his 3 years in college and made 43% of his triples in his junior season at UVA. Murphy is also a very good free throw shooter, although he doesn't get to the charity stripe that much. He made 93% of his free throws last year. With his height and length, Murphy has a high release point that is tough to block, and coupled with his compact mechanics and consistent follow-through, I have no real concerns about Murphy's three-pointer. Right off the bat, this skill set gives him a viable playing role in the NBA, especially on a team that really needed shooting like New Orleans. With that being said, there are a few things that I am looking for Murphy to build on. I will get into this more later, but he really does need to keep being a good three-point shooter in order to really be accounted for offensively. Like I said, I'm not at all worried about Murphy's outside shot. However, I think that he needs to keep building on his shooting on the move. That can come in a few ways, starting with catch and shoot situations. I think Murphy is still more comfortable as a spot-up shooter rather than when he has to move and then rise into his shot. On a similar note, Murphy is still not a particularly adept shooter on the move. New Orleans ran a few actions like this for him in the Summer League and he struggled to get these shots to go in. Murphy can still make his release and footwork a little bit quicker and tighter, but I think that will come with NBA reps and coaching. Lastly, 90% of Murphy's threes at Virginia were assisted. Evidently, he can space the floor, but it is important to note that he is still very reliant on his teammates creating for him. Murphy does not necessarily need to become a self-sufficient offensive player to be important, but at 6'9" and with some underrated athleticism that I will touch on later, it would certainly benefit the Pelicans to try drilling this aspect of his game a little bit more. This is not a must, especially given the gravity that Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram have, but I think it would be very handy. In fact, I thought Murphy showed more offensive diversity and upside in the Summer League than he did at Virginia. The Pelicans did not mind letting Murphy handle the ball and try to make plays for himself. In his 4 Summer League games, he ended up with some nice moments and encouraging flashes. Murphy was even trusted to handle the ball in pick and roll situations at times. This poise and shot making here is pretty impressive. Murphy also showed off some passing which I had never seen before. At Virginia, Murphy only got about an assist a night, but he averaged nearly 3 assists per game in the Summer League. Murphy was not making spectacular flashy reads, but he was solid, turned the ball over less than once per game, and just showed off good feel. It was encouraging to see Murphy handle the ball in the pick and roll or just make steady reads. He played with his head up, found cutters, and generally moved the ball when he had to. Seeing Murphy make the right play is crucial because it shows to me that he understands his role. He does not let the ball stick in his hands, does not command too many touches to be effective, and when he does get the ball, he makes it count. Watch this pass here as Murphy first screens, then gets the ball and assists his teammate under the basket. Or here, he attacks the closeout and then finds the cutter for the big dunk. This play would have been hard to spot in college as Murphy attacks off the dribble and then has great patience hitting the cutter. Overall, it was encouraging and new to see him play with this type of craft and creativity. If Murphy can help relieve some pressure off Zion and Ingram by making smart, timely plays, that will help out the Pelicans big time. One thing that really stood out to me about Murphy in the Summer League was his athleticism. Murphy just looked the part of an NBA player. He was big, long, and bouncy. Despite only coming in at 206 pounds, Murphy did not look weak. Sure, he will still need to add more strength, but it seems like his frame can take it and he did not look out of place so far. Murphy was constantly making big plays with his motor and vertical leap. He was active cutting to the basket, getting out in transition by running the floor hard, and had some noteworthy dunks. Watch against Chicago as Murphy runs the floor hard and gets up to finish the one-handed lob. Or against Golden State, he is assertive getting to the basket and then tips in his own miss with a quick second jump. Murphy also put his athleticism to good use on the offensive glass. He was similarly quick getting off the floor and generating second chances. Again, that's indicative of his good feel. Murphy averaged 2 offensive boards per game in the Summer League, an improvement over his college average at under 1 per game. Watch his high level of engagement here as Murphy tracks down the miss and gets fouled going for the tip dunk. Defensively, I thought Trey Murphy had a really good Summer League. The first thing that stood out is that he really knows how to use his length. For example, watch here as Murphy stays with the drive, swipes down at the right time to get the steal, and then generates the transition dunk. Or against Cleveland again, he follows the play and is really smart intercepting the attempted lob. At 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, Murphy has fairly good measurements. He can hound attackers, harass them into turnovers with his length, and really is just a factor on the floor. What it boils down to is that Murphy can cover up a lot of space, and so far he's shown good understanding of defense both at Virginia and in the Summer League. That can come with things such as what we're seeing here in these clips with Murphy helping on the pick and roll. He can make himself a problem, and I appreciate that about him. I also really like Murphy's mobility. Like I said, he covers up a lot of space, but he can also move around the floor while doing that. Murphy is absolutely not a stiff. He can get down in a stance, slide his feet sideways and backwards, and keep up with attackers. I will go into that last thing in a few moments, but I think part of what makes Murphy such an appealing pick with a high, safe floor also goes back to his defense. He is dependable, engaged, and can fulfill a variety of needs around the court. Pelicans-wise, he gives them a dimension that they missed last year on the wings, but Murphy is not limited to being a positional defender. After watching the Summer League, I believe New Orleans intends to use him on all sorts of players. So far, Murphy has stepped up to the plate. He embraced all sorts of different defensive assignments in the Summer League. You could see Murphy trying to smother guards with his length, keep up with similarly sized wings, or even be used on bigs at times. It's Murphy starting on Mobley here, but he switches with no complications and then blocks the pull-up 3. Versus Golden State, Murphy also displayed great defense against a similarly sized wing in Jonathan Kuminga. Murphy went blow for blow with the 7th overall pick and did a good job stifling the G League Ignite product. Watch here, for example, as Murphy is comfortable in the post and ends up getting the block. But if there is one area where I want Murphy to get better, it is protecting the rim. With his height and length, Murphy will occasionally show a flash or two, but I think he could be doing better. I would like to see this type of play against Golden State more often. At Virginia, Murphy averaged under half a block per game. In the Summer League, he actually got over a block per game, so you might be asking yourself why I'm even pointing this out. I just feel like Murphy is equipped to make an even bigger impact as a help side defender. He was in this situation plenty of times, but was not consistent or sturdy enough in my opinion. This is not so much that he did poorly, it's that I believe that he can really get better. Alright, so I think that the appeal and the projection of Trey Murphy III is pretty obvious, and that is not a bad thing at all. Murphy can come into the NBA right off the bat in my opinion, and have a contributor role to New Orleans. That's not to say that he's going to be a featured part of their offense, but I do think that he has the makings to be an important player for the Pelicans on year 1. Offensively, I think it's easy to see what Murphy is going to do in the NBA, especially early on. He's going to be asked to space the floor, he's going to be asked to take those spot up, catch and shoot threes, maybe once in a while they'll run something for him to get into a shot on the move. But overall, that's where his bread and butter is going to be, like I said in the video. He's going to be out on the perimeter. He's going to be asked to space the floor, and then maybe, if it gets to the point where defenses are really closing out on him, well, we've seen that he can go off of 1 or 2 dribbles. He can maybe go into a little, sidestep jumper, 1 dribble jumper here and there. But right now, I think that you have to keep his role as simple as possible. In the Summer League, I thought that Murphy showed off some flashes that we did not get to see at all at Virginia. He was handling the ball in pick and roll, he was getting those reps, he was making plays for others, he was pulling up off the dribble, And all of that can only be encouraging, especially when we're talking about a guy who's a 6'9" wing, 7-foot wingspan, pretty good athlete. He looked very, very bouncy in the summer league. And as you know, the types of floors with those prospects are usually pretty safe. Right now, even if Murphy doesn't really improve at all in the NBA, which is very, very unlikely, I think that he would still have a role in the league, just based off his length, his height, his shot profile, his defensive effort, intensity, and switchability. So when you get all of those things and you put them together into one prospect, well, I think New Orleans had a home run pick getting Murphy, or they did. Defensively, I'm also very encouraged by him. I already touched on it, just a few moments before. But I think that switchability is going to be huge for New Orleans. Right now, their two main guys are undoubtedly Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. But both of them are really not sturdy at all on the defensive end of the floor. Last year, the Pelicans only really had Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart as defenders who could make a difference. With Lonzo gone, Josh Hart stays, but the Pelicans need that added wing size, that added depth, and of course that defensive effort, which they will really need in order to insulate Zion and Brandon Ingram. So if Murphy can do all of these things, then why was he not even a higher pick? Well, I think that mostly comes down to the fact that he is not self-sufficient at all right now. He is very much reliant on others, and despite the flashes that we saw in the summer league, well, that is still a very, very small sample size. The good news for him is that in New Orleans, at least last year, and I expect this to continue this year to some extent, Zion and BI are going to be the ones handling the ball. They're going to be the ones getting into the paint, kicking it out, or just making decisions overall. So that means that the rest of the floor, the rest of the guys on the floor, they need to be ready, they need to be willing shooters, and they need to be ready to get called on when Zion or Brandon Ingram dish the ball off. I think Murphy can do that. I think that he is very comfortable doing that. And so far from what we've seen in the summer league, the New Orleans Pelicans are going to put him in a position where he is going to be comfortable, where he is not going to be asked to do too much too early, and where he can really develop. In the long term, I think that Murphy's best NBA comparison, which again is not to say that he is going to be like this type of player, but I see some similarities, is someone like Mikal Bridges or DeAndre Hunter. A very good wing-sized defender, pretty good athlete too, can really shoot the ball from the outside, or at least that's the plan, and he's shown some flashes of being able to create his own shot. But it really took for Bridges until this year to really kind of show off that part of his game. So if Murphy is coming into the NBA now, I would not really expect that until maybe 2 or 3 years down the line. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a comment telling me what you think about Trey Murphy, and again, if you want to see any more Summer League content, make sure to give me, a shout. And if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the channel, if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.